you heard we have we have upcoming hackathons, but we also had already our first one this year in March. And I want to give you, a small recap, a small highlight summary of this hackathon. And actually the theme this time was the one thing. So double your development speed. So this was the overall headline, but everything which is related to the overall developer experience, anything which bothers you on the project, like bugs, CLI tools, anything which could increase or make your development speed better, was related to this theme. And of course, in theory, at these hackathons, you can work on anything, hopefully Spryker related, but we are not forcing you to work on anything. But if you and your team want to win at our hackathon or at a partner hackathon, then of course it's beneficial for you if you do something theme related. Okay, so this was the big theme. And here you see some impressions of this event. Overall, it was 1.5 days plus a small ideation session. And we had, I think, 15 participants in the end. So 15 Spryker developers who were not like hired by Spryker, but really from partners, customers, freelancers, whoever can do something with Spryker. Sometimes we even have project managers in there. I think this time we had all techies. And you see, we don't just hack things. We also engineer like good paper planes to see which one is the fastest. So it's not just about sitting in a dark room, eating pizza and hack something down. It's
although that's nice from time to time.
Yeah, of course. And some teams did in the evening to be very productive and get things done. But overall, this event is so much more than just sitting in a corner and doing something. It's about connecting. It's about exchanging ideas, doing discussions about different concepts. Now we have a lot of Spryker pros in here with different opinions. And then after 1 or 2 beers, you really have like strong but very good discussions about a certain best practice in Spryker and how you would do it on a project. And sometimes you have a beer and talks in the kitchen. Sometimes, as you see in the bottom right corner, just somewhere in the office where nobody can go through anymore, and have fun talks about, I think Edwin was talking about Kuba again and the internet there. So it's an event for exchanging ideas, thoughts with other Spryker developers, with other like-minded people. And I think this makes the event so good to join. Okay, just very shortly that you have an idea what we do at the hackathons. This time we had a 1.5 day hackathon, so the arrival time was by 3 at the at Wednesday actually, and then we had a small welcome session, introduced everybody. Then the teams can get to know each other in person. We had some icebreakers, and then actually it was not directly planned to let the teams work actually already on the projects, but we had like a hackathon kickoff where the teams discussed their first ideas, and actually the networking and dinner was moving more to our late night hacking session, at least for minimum 2 teams who stayed way later than 10 p.m. to already prepare the code for the next day. But actually, the second day was more planned for doing the actual coding. And the second day was like the full day, including breakfast in the office. Then what I told you, the engineering, aeronautical engineering challenge to go a bit away from code as well. And then hacking. And in the end, by 5, the hacking must have been over, and the teams should have finished their short presentations and short 2-minute videos, like demos of their results. And then, of course, they have to present them. And afterwards, we have a winner and a networking where we can discuss further Spryker things. So this is what usually happens at the hackathons. This is just to orientate ourselves a bit. In the end, we are very flexible there. I told you that we had upfront an ideation session, which was like fully remote to not block additional time at the hackathon itself. This we did at the Miro board, and there everybody could introduce themselves already via a short card actually. We added some more helping panels here with more information, and already we prepared some possible ideas. Actually, me asking ChatGPT what could be possible related to this topic. And then the teams also, or the possible teams, added possible topics to work on. And in the end of the ideation session, we had 4 teams with nearly 4 members for each team. And this was a very productive ideation session, so we were prepared to start the hackathon right away. So in the end, we had team 1, the Spryker Tech team. So this team wanted to do a platform for Spryker development, and there they also wanted to do a performance test, a load test, and compare it to the public demo shops you find online. Then in the MassiveData team, they had the topic that they wanted to do a mass data importer for with the help of the data exchange API, and make it actually usable for a lot of data. So actually they told us upfront, we want to break the data exchange API of Spryker. Team 3, the initiator, they wanted to do a setup or like a script or a tooling to prepare the development environment localized. So with very few settings or a config or whatever, they wanted to set up the whole development environment. So instead of you manually adjusting stores and regions and so on, they wanted to have it more automated. So your boot up process for a project is much faster. And this could be very interesting for agencies, for example. And last but not least, our 4 team, the footprinters or footprinter. I'm not that sure. I think they changed the name in between to remove DS. They wanted to do a programmable maker bundle for Spryker. In the end, they wanted to create something to have skeleton modules with the latest best practices. I think this would put it in more simple words. So the teams overall were kind of freely to choose their size. We could have also have 5 teams or 6. The only rule we did, or the rules we did, was like not more than 4 people to one team, and please not more than 2 people from the same company. So we really have a lot of different thoughts in the team and a lot of different know-how in the teams, and this was the only boundary here from our side. Okay, let's look into what the teams did. Let me introduce you to the Spryker Tech team first. Of course, it was not just one person, but I didn't find a photo where all of these 4 teammates were together of one photo. And I also know that at least one team member is a bit more shy and don't like to have his photo somewhere. So here in the Spryker Tech team, we had Dennis, Patrick, David, and Marco. And what they did is they used a Steam Deck actually, and made it or configured it the way that they can code Spryker on it. So they installed a Spryker dev environment with an IDE and so on a Steam Deck, which is in the end a Linux-based system. And there they made some load and performance tests. And the same tests they also did towards the Spryker public demo shops. When I mean public demo shops, it is the online available one. So the one we host, but exposed through a domain to the World Wide Web. And they wanted to make a proof that Spryker can run anywhere and that it can be even faster than, for example, on our Spryker server based on their load tests. There were some discussions about it in the end, but it was very impressive that they installed it on the Steam Deck. And in the end, it was a bit joking, but their selling point was every dev want to have a Steam Deck because they can code, be very productive, and in the short breaks, they can just play Doom, which is also parallelly installed on the Steam Deck. So work hard, play hard, together with gear. And unique selling point with this idea, a Steam Deck is much cheaper than a normal MacBook. This was their selling point, and great idea. Each team has a GitHub repository where they put their code, and for each team we have a video here. In this highlight session, I will not show you the video. Trust me that I did it on a Steam Deck. You will see it, I think, a bit on the bottom if you watch the video by yourself. You will find the video on YouTube. You will find it also in the recap post from Sam in Commerce Quest. They are all videos linked. But yeah, very great, fun idea, I must say. I like when people think out of the box. And also, I know that some of the teammates already prepared this idea for several hours before the hackathon to really have fun at the hackathon working on this and having something unique. So very cool idea. Okay. So I wanted to go to the next slide. Then the next team, the MassiveData team. And as you see in the picture, it's the winning team. They wanted to improve the data exchange API. So the problem statement was here, okay, Spryker has a data exchange API, but will it handle like a lot of data, like possible millions of data? And you must know the data exchange API out of the box is made for handling small operations. So updating one entity. So each API request will update or create or delete, whatever, one entity. But now, sometimes the bottleneck is to have a lot of requests to the web. So this is actually where the latency gets added. If you have to touch 1 million entities, the writing, reading, and so on operation is actually not taking that long, but doing the requests to an API is adding a lot of time. And so there are different concepts out there in the tech area, and they thought about creating a batch endpoint. So having an endpoint, like one API endpoint within the data exchange API, and using the rules of the data exchange API to consolidate maybe thousands of requests of that entity to update into one batched request, and therefore reduce the overall API requests. And this idea is very cool because it's also a real life problem statement. And the team members were Moritz, Augustina, Silvia, and Maher. And actually, they made a very cool proof of concept with extending the data exchange API for the batch endpoint. Most of the time of the hacking time, they used to extend the core module on project level, kind of to make a proof of concept. But the goal is to make it even a platform contribution, as you learned earlier today from Andrew, to merge it into core, the general idea. So this is the actual goal here, and they want to work also on this after the hackathon. Here I could show you from the video what they did with Postman. In the end, I don't want to bother you that much with Jason, but they really made a proof of concept here, and it's really interesting. And because it's solving a real world problem, and they could make a running example and also thought about some bottlenecks already. This was like chosen by the jury to be the winner team actually. And Spryker will support the team also going forward to give feedback to the code, to the idea, also technical feedback, architectural feedback to make this really happen. And Moritz from Valantic, who you see on the bottom right on the picture, told me he's very eager with his team to continue working on it, also outside of the hackathon, to make it really like a platform contribution towards core. And this is really, really nice to see the hackathon bringing like initiatives up front or to the foreground, which can really improve Spryker, even either as a platform contribution towards core or as a standalone module to be used by projects. Okay.
So the team was master stage. So
then, third team, the initiator. Members of the team were Ray, Sven, Lucas, and Julius. Some of you may know Ray because he is doing trainings for Spryker. So if you're in the basics training, Ray is often taking care of it. And they wanted to do a localized development environment setup. Means, actually, I think I explained it already earlier, to have a configuration to set up your demo shop environment. So the project repository to start with already all predefined regions, stores, and so on. And actually, they made that work with so-called project point JSON within the project root. They created an extra tooling for that. So an application you can install as a CLI tool on your computer and use it in your projects to create like an adjusted deploy file and other adjusted scripts within your project repository via your configuration file named project point JSON. Also very cool. And I think if it will be if the team will follow up on it or some other people outside, could be very interesting for agencies to save some boot up time into new projects. Maybe also interesting for some demo teams who want to demo something to new prospects. Okay, and last but not least,
I heard a we are.
We are.
Right.
Yeah, we are the initiators. And last but not least, the food printers or food printer with Muhammad, Sergey, and Vasily. And they wanted to think the whole code generation from a different point of view. So far we have the Sprykes within Spryker, where you run some console commands and it creates some models for you. Then there is the idea to use AI to create code for you. But problem with that is that you have to train the AI model somehow with the best practices. Problem with the Sprykes is you have to somehow update the Sprykes, which is based on the configuration, a bit more harder. So they thought, what about doing example models like Spryker already has and adding some annotation there, which will then define what can be used as skeleton or what we can copy from to a new model. So you will have, for example, so-called example models with the latest best practice, maybe provided by Spryker, maybe provided by the community, with proper annotation. And this makeup bundle, or the code they created, will take this annotation, reads from it, and replaces then certain names like method names, class names, and so on, file names, and create a copy of it based on your parameters to start with a new module with the latest best practice. And the big advantage based on this idea here compared to the Sprykes is that the maintainability of this way is much easier, much more straightforward than the Spryks. And this you can also, these example models you can also put to GitHub. And this is really something Spryker also finds very interesting. And actually, Muhammad told me that he and likely the whole team is very interested in continuing on this project as Innovation Lab standalone package to work on in the future to make it maybe even a real thing to be used on projects. And if we can do this together with the community, this would be very, very cool. In the next weeks, I will also follow up on this. I will contact Muhammad and the other team members to ask what they want to do there. And then I will also create some shout-out posts to collect some other devs who maybe want to work on this as well, to have maybe our first code creator module in Spryker open source, in the Spryker community. This would be very, very cool. So.
Hello, everyone.
Again, hello, everyone. We had 4 teams, and we had a jury based on complete different members. Some people from tech, some from community. So different roles, different viewpoints. We also had Dennis there. What is Dennis' title? I know that he is responsible for all the technology stuff.
VP Architecture.
Yeah, so Dennis makes the decisions for the architecture, for the technology stack, and so on. So he was also one of the jury, and he also gave the promise that we will try everything in our hand to help the winning team to fulfill their idea. So the evaluation criteria was based on 3 main aspects: the value impact, so the potential of decreasing the feature development time, how realistic is it to make it like a real thing, to go away from proof of concept to make it a stable version, and how innovative it is. And I mean, already, based on this, we had one winning team, the MassiveData, and they really earned this. They get like a physical prize, but they also were prized with an Amazon voucher for their very good contribution there. And actually their very great idea and what they worked on. It was actually quite hard for the jury, because if you go by innovative and fun, then the Steam Deck was also quite high. Then about increasing the development speed and so on, the food printers were also there. So depending on what aspect overall ruled higher, each of the 4 teams would have been, it could have been the winners, but we had a point system, and then the MassiveData in the end made it. And we are so happy to have these 4 there to present them as winners. They really earned it. And again, congratulations from Spryker.
Yep.
Okay, what's next? So there are 2 things from this hackathon we will take with us, so within Spryker. So we made a promise up front that we will help the winning team to realize the idea. So we still gather feedback from the internal experts to give the winning team feedback of what needs to be done to make it enterprise ready. So to work hand in hand with a winner team to make it a real platform contribution. So we will support with whatever knowledge we have and expertise we have to help the team to make it like a core pull request towards the data exchange API. And secondly, overall, we from community will promote all projects to be worked on as open source and let them live. So like I told you, for the food printers, for example, in the next weeks, there will be some shout outs to look for people who want to help out in the projects and make them or bring them out of the proof of concept state. So these are the takeaways from this hackathon. But actually, the second point here will hopefully be always a takeaway from all the hackathons. And if you have a cool idea outside of the hackathon and you want to have other Sprykers also working on it, contributing, making it a big, cool tool, feature, module, whatever, just come to us and we can see how we can promote us together. And you're, of course, always very welcome to just post in Commerce Quest by yourself and find people. We really want to build the community, make it strong, and have it like an own drive here to have also some cool open source, like real open source modules to help you in your project. Also, if you find one of the teams or ideas they had interesting and you want to maybe contribute there, do you see that I changed my screen? Or do you see still the presentation?
We see it.
Okay. Go to the Commerce Quest, to the Developer Corner, Community Projects, Hackathon. I think we have even a short link Hackathon on the main page right now. And there you have threads for every team. And also the team members are linked there. So if you want to participate in one of the ideas and bring it further, just go to this subforum and post in the related thread. And yeah, this is from my side. Do you have any question about the hackathon or the March hackathon?